Altcoins everywhere. Remember back in 2017 when initial coin offerings were becoming huge and everyone was talking about them? Well, this is not at all like that. At all. Whatsoever. So you would not believe the amount of people that have been asking me to make a video about Safemoon Coin. So here it is. Safemoon Coin. Kind of looks like the moon on your phone, and anytime you can just pluck it out of your phone and there it is. That's a lie, I just made that up. But in the last 30 days, since the time of making this video, this project has been up 3,300%. It has a trading volume of something like $167 million in the last 24 hours, and it's worth $4 billion of a market cap, which is huge, and it's still considered cheap by a lot of people because each coin is worth something like 0.00006 millionths of a dollar. So this thing has been on fire, and consequently, so will people's wallets. It's a foreshadowing, so please watch this video carefully. All right, let's get serious for a minute. I'm very lucky to have a voice and a platform here on YouTube to express my ideas and thoughts about personal finance, investing, and money because, like it or not, money dictates the direction of our lives. But one of the things that I'm most proud of having accomplished here on YouTube is not the financial success or the million subscribers that I got, but it's how I got here, because I never wanted to tear other people down. I've never wanted to leverage other people who are more successful, more talented, more relevant than me for the sake of my own gain. Even when I personally believe that sometimes maybe those people deserved a little bit of criticism because they're doing something sketchy and I could make some views. I've never done that and I never will, because I generally believe that if you have nothing good to say, you probably shouldn't say it. That's true in finance and that's true in life. And I would rather take my time and spend that time showing people a better path and a better way of investing rather than taking that time to tear their ideas and their beliefs down, because that's a waste of time and I don't want to be the moral arbiter of truth. That's just not my place. But maybe, but I do think that sometimes exceptions can be made, especially in the world of finance, where when I make videos about the stock market and dividend investing and 7% per year returns, it's like, 7? I can make 737 in the last 7 days. That's way more exciting, right? So at the end of the day, I want every crypto project to succeed. I want everyone to make money, because if crypto wins, we all win. But sometimes, and this is why I'm making this video, I think it's important to think with logic and reason rather than emotion. When we see projects that are super exciting, we get too carried away and we invest with emotion. Take it from the dude who bought Coinbase on day one. So I'm not taking the intellectual high ground here. So anyway, hopefully we figure it out together along the way and figure out what Safemoon Coin is all about. So let's begin. Hi, my name is Andrei Jikh. Hope you're doing well. Come for the finance and stay for the crypto market cap. It's a crypto market and it's also a cap. So it's awesome. Thank you so much for whoever sent me this. I love this thing. Let's talk about MoonSafe Coin. So why is it popping off? Why is it going up in price? The truth is, nobody knows why. There are so many other crypto projects that are very similar to it, but it's this one that happened to be popping off. And one of the theories behind it is because the name sounds cool. Safemoon? Sounds like we're going to the moon. We're getting there safely? Sign me up, Scotty. People have made tens of thousands of dollars. And since launch, which was just on March 8th, a month and a half later, and they now have over 1 million unique wallet addresses. And 1 million people can't be wrong, right? They already have a $4 billion valuation, which means they are now more valuable than Red Robin Restaurants, GoPro, and Star Trek Inc. combined, which is crazy because I've never heard of Star Trek Inc. They better be making starships with a name like that. It's a real company. But one of the most basic questions that you should ask yourself about a project is, what is it trying to solve? What is the product? So for Safemoon, their product is something called Tokenomics, and here's what that is. Tokenomics is just a fancy way of saying token economics, which is just a fancy way of saying what is the incentive for holding on the coin. And they've come up with a pretty interesting solution that really discourages people from selling, and it kind of punishes them. So anytime you transact or anytime you sell your Safemoon coins, then you get hit with a 10% penalty fee. So let's say you sell $100 of Safemoon Coin. Well, $10 of that money is going to go towards the network fee, of which 50%, or $5 in this case, is going to get distributed amongst the network to all the other people who hold the coin in proportion to the amount of coins they hold. So obviously, the more coins you have, the more of those fees you will collect. So this obviously incentivizes people to hold. Now, the other half of that $10 or $5 is going to get split 50-50 again. What do you mean crypto's complicated? It's totally not. So $250 of that goes towards BNB, which is Binance, which is an exchange, and the other $250 goes towards a liquidity pool, which is just a fancy way of saying it's what allows people to buy and sell and move and transfer their money in and out of these kinds of tokens relatively quickly. So that gets added towards the BNB/Safemoon pair on the PancakeSwap exchange. Fancy words, but the gist of it is that you are discouraged once you're in that ecosystem to move your money anywhere else, because once you do, that 10% fee means that you're essentially giving money to everybody else. So that's the product, the excitement of tokenomics, which promises to make you rich for holding. But all right, that's fine. So what is this product trying to solve? That's the most important question. And at its core, what it's trying to solve is, I'm still trying to figure it out, but based on my understanding, what it's trying to solve is it's trying to make rewarding tokens more fairly, which doesn't make much sense because it'll never be fair. Because the earlier you got in, the more tokens you have. And even though that 10% fee gets distributed to everybody on the network, it's the people that got in earliest and the people with the most coins that get disproportionately rewarded. And that means the early adopters.
But Andrei, you're an idiot. Read the white paper. It says they're gonna do video games and charity and solve liquidity problems.
And this is true. Promises will always be made in the crypto space. But even if the developers follow through with the roadmap, think about it like this. When you create a deflationary currency that is so deflationary, and you could argue and say that Bitcoin is also deflationary, but not to this degree, where you essentially punish people for using that currency, a 10% fee, then you are creating disincentives for any kind of real world use cases, right? Because why would I use this currency unless the product behind the currency is extremely cool? But if there is none, you're encouraging people to hold, and you're encouraging more people to invite their friends to join to also hold with you. And if you could imagine a diagram of what that looks like, it kind of begins to look like you just joined the latest Illuminati club. Tokenomics to this extreme creates holding incentives, not real world use case incentives, and therefore less utility.
Andrei, you're an idiot. You just described Bitcoin.
So it's true. A lot of people criticize Bitcoin of the exact same thing. It doesn't have utility. How is it different than Safemoon Coin if the whole thing is about buying it only to turn around and to sell it to somebody else for more money? That's called the greater fool theory. And Bitcoin's a bad currency, right? It's too slow and it's too expensive. So what is it actually trying to solve? So the difference is that Bitcoin is trying to democratize the power of money, and money is influence. That power has historically belonged to the governments of the world. And Bitcoin is democratizing and distributing that power to everyone else. That is a big solution to a very big world problem that very few other crypto projects can say that they're trying to solve. So if you're Safemoon Coin and you're trying to compete and stand out against all the other thousands of coins, how do you do it? Here's how. Marketing. Because there's nothing more that small crypto projects love than to pair with Binance. Because one of the ways to get your crypto project listed on Binance, which by the way is the largest crypto exchange in the world, is to get voted in. But another lesser known way is to pay money. A lot of money. And as soon as you do, and when you get listed, you get access to a whole new group of customers that will push your project into the stratosphere and make you thousands of %. And that's because it just doesn't take that much money to move your project in the first place because it's still relatively small. And even the promise of getting your project listed somewhere like that hypes up the project even more, which creates more publicity and more marketing fuel to get more people excited. And sure, in the short term, a lot of people can make a lot of money. But in the long term, most of that money will be made by the developers and by the whales who are almost always 10 steps ahead of everybody else. So besides selling promises, you have to have something more. And what's more valuable than selling promises? It's this. Selling money. And that's what tokenomics without utility is. It's the promise to get a lot of money in exchange for a little bit of money. Because if I promised to give you a $100 bill in exchange for your 5, why wouldn't you want to do that? Of course you'd do that. And when you combine extreme tokenomics with a massive supply of 1 quadrillion tokens, which is a 1 with 15 zeros after it, which is 1,000 trillion, then you have to ask yourself what's going on. Because why do they have to make it that big? 1 quadrillion, you don't have to make it that complicated unless the developer is smart enough to understand the power of marketing in crypto, because that is designed to incentivize people to spend their $100 because that is what makes them feel like early adopters. Because that $100 will buy them millions and millions of tokens, which makes them feel like they got in early and they have the chance to become a millionaire. But if a crypto's project fundamentals are based purely on marketing incentives, then you have to ask yourself, what's the exit strategy? Because here's the thing, when it comes to price, it tells us nothing about the value of the underlying asset. That's true for stocks and that's true for crypto. If you hear that a stock is worth $1,000, that sounds expensive. But what if there's only 100 shares outstanding? And what if there's 1 trillion? It tells us nothing about the value and the quality of the company itself. That's also true for crypto. And companies do this all the time to get people to buy them and into thinking that they're buying something for cheap. Because if Apple tomorrow issued and created a 1,000,000-for-1 stock split, it would flood the market with 1,000,000 times more shares and the price would plummet. Well, crypto projects use this same tactic, except they start with an already massive supply, which makes it seem cheap. I know that it's not fair to single out Safemoon because there's a lot of other projects like them, and I don't know the developers, I don't know their intentions, but their success has created a ton of other copycats that are trying to capitalize on their success. There's projects like Safe Mars, Safe Nebula, Safe BTC, Save your money. No, I just made that last part. The tokenomics behind the last one is that anytime you buy it, you lose 100% of your investment. So any day that you don't buy it, you get to keep 100% of your money. 100% returns daily. Beat that. So if you still want to invest your money into crypto projects that focus more on tokenomics rather than solving real world problems, that's perfectly normal too. I'm not going to say that speculating is wrong as long as you manage your risks accordingly, you don't invest all your money at once, and once you're up on your money, then you collect those profits and you put that money toward a legitimate project that's maybe a little bit safer, like Bitcoin, which is crazy to say out loud. Bitcoin, a safer investment. But it is. And I know what you might be thinking. This guy's bitter because he missed out, right? He didn't ride the train, so he's just salty. The truth is, I want this project to succeed. I would never wish anyone to fail because it's these kinds of projects that our government uses when they fail as a regulatory framework to box everyone else in and then ruin the chance of this happening ever again and then ruin it for everybody else. So that's not what I want. I would never wish that on anybody. And at the end of the day, this year, I was able to turn $100,000 of my money into something like $800,000, putting it into Bitcoin and Ethereum, and all of that is fine, but I'm not gonna use this financial success as a way of validating my intellect or that my investments are better than everybody else, because at the end of the day, I still want to limit my exposure because there are still risks in the future that I'm probably not aware of, so I have to play it safe. So forget about price. Price moves up and down every single day. It's based on supply and demand, it's based on hype and marketing, but hopefully underneath all of that, there's some real world utility that you can use, because if not, then this could very well be the next penny stock in disguise. Kind of like the people who bought this nothing ball. Sure, if you got in early enough, you got a piece of the company and you made some money, but most people still bought air. And then there was the infamous BitConnect, which was a giant pyramid Ponzi scheme, even though they still had a very likable public persona who was very open to doing live events and Q&A sessions. At the end of the day, people still lost a lot of money. Now, I'm not saying that Safemoon Coin is exactly like that, but I am saying that history sometimes rhymes in ways that you don't expect. So if you see somebody leverage their status and their wealth to get you excited about a crypto project, that is when you run in the opposite direction, because your money is going to be spent on consumption and marketing and not on development. And the reason I guess I'm upset and the reason I wanted to make this video is because after researching this project and looking at the community, I saw so many passionate people who were inspired to use this money and use their profits to pay off their parents' loans, to help out their families, and I could totally relate. 2020 was not a good year for the poorest people in this country, and I would really hate to see a lot of people get taken advantage of and end up losing money. Even if you're making money in the short term, just please be careful and really understand what you're investing in. The goal of this video wasn't to tear anybody down. I really do believe that people have good intentions, but I think even good intentions can end up having really bad consequences. So just stay safe. Love you. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe to Millennial Money. We post on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific. Love you. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.